How is everybody doing tonight? We are going to be voting live on the Game Awards. I am super excited. Yes, Ryuga, the Game Awards is tomorrow. You can't believe that it's already here, right? That's why I'm pretty excited to do this. We haven't done something like this yet. I've always wanted to do some type of Game Awards coverage, but I just kind of haven't gotten the chance to. But with this new year rolling in and us doing a lot of streaming, I figured this would be the perfect opportunity. So tonight we are going to be voting, and I'll be giving you some of my predictions. I am really excited about it. As you could tell, I got everything set up. We're going to be going to the other internet browse screen I have set up so you can see everything that we are doing. I'll be reading them out loud just in case if you cannot see the full screen. And so the beginning of this, we're going to start from the bottom and go up. The main reason is because a lot of these esport categories I'm not going to really vote in. I don't have a lot of say in esports, and like right now we have it on esports best coach, and it's like I'm totally not qualified to make that vote. So we'll be skipping a lot of these beginning ones, and we'll be kind of moving on up, and I'll be explaining my reasonings for why I am voting that way, what I think will win, and then throughout the show I will be letting you guys know some of my bigger predictions for announcements. So let's start off right here. We go all the way down, all the way down. So best esports team, we're going to skip. Esports host, we're going to skip. But we will do best esports game. I have watched a lot of esports this year, despite like not knowing a lot about it. It's always in the background. It's always something that I catch coming on. And best esports game as of right now: Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Counter-Strike Global Offense, Fortnite, League of Legends, Valorant. Now, I want to go Valorant because I feel like this is like a new game, and I still hear a lot about it, even though I feel like the Valorant news has died down a lot. It was one of those games that came in, and it did make a big push for esports game. Also, Fortnite and Modern Warfare, really big. Counter-Strike's always in there. League of Legends is always in there. League of Legends won last year. I don't see any reason why League of Legends wouldn't win this year. But something's telling me to vote Valorant. I have personally played Fortnite, Call of Duty, League of Legends, but with Valorant, I haven't played it. But like I said, it's made the splash. We're going to vote Valorant. Okay, so now that we've done that, let me move this around. Move around my mouse real quick. So I got a badge. Thank you for that badge. Moving on up, best esports event. I'm not going to vote on that. Let's see what else we got. Best esports coach, won't be voting. Esports athlete, won't be voting. Best debut game. So this is one we will be voting in. Carry On, Mortal Shell, Raji and Ancient Epic, Roki, and Phasmophobia. So what's up, Kaleo? Thanks for coming, buddy. I appreciate you being here. Trying something new tonight, okay? Stick with me. I appreciate it. So tonight, with best debut game, I'm probably going to go Phasmophobia. The reason why I go Phasmophobia is because I've watched so many streams on Phasmophobia this year, especially around Halloween. It seemed like everybody was playing it. It was one of those great party games. I could even see it being thrown into a multiplayer category. But if it's going to be here, I want to say Phasmophobia. I think it's a very cool concept of a game. It's pretty much ghost hunters with your friends trying to call out a ghost. If you haven't seen it, you definitely want to see it. You gotta check it out. I think the game's pretty cheap too, so we're gonna be going Phasmophobia. Content creator of the year. Now, there's two people in this that I am very split on. All the nominees: Alana Pierce, Jay Ann Lopez, Nick Merckx, Tim the Tat Man, and Valkyrie. It's split between Alana and Tim the Tat Man for me. Everything that happened with Tim the Tat Man was so awesome this year with Fall Guys. Him looking for that win in Fall Guys, and when it finally happened, it was like one of those events in 2020 that we needed. You know what I mean? We needed Tim the Tat Man to win, and I mean, so many outlets were actually talking about it. I mean, you even had like Forbes talking about it. You had ESPN talking about it. The actual ESPN account tweeted when Tim the Tatman won. So I think if you're looking at streamers, it's Tim the Tatman. But this is Content Creator of the Year. And the reason why I think Alana Pierce needs to win this is because she's been everywhere this year. She's literally been in so many different projects, and it seemed like a really breakout year despite the 2020 COVID situation. And now she's one of the writers for Santa Monica. I think everything's blowing up, so we're gonna vote Alana Pierce. I think Tim the Tatman will win. I think Tim the Tatman will win, but we'll see. We'll see. Also, I watched a lot of XCast with Alana Pierce this year too. So we have best multiplayer. This is a good one. This one I have a lot to talk about. Okay, so Animal Crossing New Horizons, that was a game that I actually did play a lot of multiplayer with my family, and I would log in, whether it's with my son or my niece or my sister, or my wife. It's like I played Animal Crossing so much, and it was that couch co-op multiplayer game. What I think will win is Among Us. What I think should win is Among Us. Even though I've played more Animal Crossing with multiplayer this year, I would have to say that Among Us was just the huge hit. It was a huge hit that everybody wanted to play. You saw everybody playing it. We had AOC playing it, breaking Twitch records, and Fall Guys is also here. Fall Guys was a great game. And I mean, for multiplayer, it stands out a lot personally for me. We played a lot of Fall Guys here on the show, so I understand if you guys definitely feel that way too. If it was the most fun I had in multiplayer this year, and that was the question, I'd be going Fall Guys, but this is best multiplayer, and I'm going to be going Among Us. Best sports racing game. Now, I've only played two of these. I've only played 2K21 and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. My vote is definitely going to go Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, mostly because that game had a complete revival. You had everybody being really excited about it, and when the game came out, it was fantastic. It was getting 9s. It has a really great Metacritic, and I think of all of these games that really try to push the boundaries, you could talk about Dirt 5 because it had like the 120 FPS mode for consoles, and I think Dirt as a series probably had its best year ever, but I gotta go with Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2, and if I had to predict the winner, I'm gonna also say Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. Best Sim Strategy. Now, I am not going to be voting in this. I did not play enough Sim Strategy games. I didn't play any of these games. I would have loved to have played Microsoft Flight Simulator. I do have Game Pass. That's a possibility, but I never got around to it. So we're going to pass. What I think will win is Microsoft Flight Simulator. I would love to have played Gears Tactics or XCOM. Didn't get a chance. Best family game. Now, this is one that I have a lot of stake in, and it's going to be hard for me to pick. We have Animal Crossing's New Horizon, we have Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout, Mario Kart Live Home Circuit, Minecraft Dungeons, and Paper Mario The Origami King. I played most of these games for the exception of Mario Kart Live Home Circuit. My heart wants to go Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time. What I think will win, and probably what should win, is Animal Crossing's New Horizon. Mostly because I know so many families that actually play Animal Crossing New Horizons. My family, my sister's family, and a lot of families play Animal Crossing New Horizons now. We also play a lot of Crash Bandicoot in this house. My son loves Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout. But I think the winner, especially if we're going to give anything to Animal Crossing New Horizons during our voting, it's going to be now. So we're going to go Animal Crossing New Horizons for Best Family Game. Best Fighting Game. Now, I saw a lot of people on Twitter ripping these nominees to shreds. We have Grand Blue Fantasy versus Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate, Street Fighter V Champion Edition, One Punch Man, A Hero Nobody Knows, and Under Night in Birth EXE Late CLR. I don't know what that game is. You could tell. You could tell I have no clue what that game is. We are going to be voting Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate. Now, I know that Mortal Kombat 11 actually came out the year before. I love that game. It was amazing. We have other re-releases in the voting. We're going to see Persona 5 Royale Edition later in the voting. So, I mean, you know, as long as your game re-releases with more content, everybody's playing it, it looks like it could be become a nominee. So we're going to be going Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate. They added Rambo, they added Spawn, they added RoboCop, they added a whole nother DLC to the game that expanded the already amazing story. Next, we have Best Role-Playing Game. We have Final Fantasy VII Remake, Genshin Impact, Persona 5 Royale, Wasteland 3, Yakuza Like a Dragon. So I think there's a lot of thoughts here. There's a lot of thoughts here. Persona 5 Royale. Persona 5, I believe, won JRPG last year, just for its standard edition. But I'm not sure on that. Don't quote me on that. I think Persona 5 won Best Role-Playing Game. It may not have, though. Genshin Impact is literally played by millions of people. I think a lot of people are sleeping on the fact that Genshin Impact can run away with this just by purely the voter count. I think when we look at critics, if we think of what critics are going to be voting for, we're thinking Final Fantasy VII Remake, Persona 5 Royale, and Yakuza Like a Dragon. I think the critics are going to be very split, but I think this is what Final Fantasy VII Remake wins. I think the critics vote for this. I think they believe that Final Fantasy VII Remake should be winning a category, and if it's any category, it's it's best role playing for Final Fantasy VII Remake. That's also what I'm going to be voting on now. But like I said, this is a toss-up. All of these games are great. It could be any of them, but I'm going to be voting Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's one of my favorite games of the year, and I loved everything that it did. All the changes were welcome. I enjoyed the new art direction, all of the character acting, all the performances, the leveling system, the combat. I loved it. So Final Fantasy VII Remake is easy for me on this one. Best Action Adventure. Now, this is a great category. If you look right here, we have Assassin's Creed Valhalla, we have Ghost of Tsushima, we have Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, we have Ori and the Will of the Wisp, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, and The Last of Us Part 2. Now, here's the thing. This is where we start to think, okay, The Last of Us Part 2 can start running away with every award. Everybody is forecasting that The Last of Us Part 2 is going to win everything. And it makes sense. The game is fantastic. We saw that Ghost of Tsushima won Player's Choice from the Game Awards on their Twitter account, which beat The Last of Us Part 2. But like how we voted earlier with Final Fantasy VII Remake and Animal Crossing, when it comes to critics thinking, okay, which game is going to pull out an award, and obviously some critics may not vote like that. They may just vote straight on and say, hey, this game is the best, and it's the best in all these categories, and it makes sense that they win all of these awards. But I want to vote to where we are kind of giving everybody its due, everybody its award that deserves one. So for me, it's a toss-up between Ghost of Tsushima, Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, and The Last of Us Part 2. Most recently, I've played Miles Morales, obviously. It came out recently. Dason, thank you for coming here. What are those game awards? Oh my gosh. Tomorrow night, Dason, there's going to be a 4-hour stream. They're going to have Keanu Reeves there, Gal Gadot, Brie Larson. They're going to have a whole bunch of people from the industry doing announcements, brand new game announcements, having streamers there, having content creators there. The Game Awards comes out about every December, and it's a big produced show. This year's probably going to be a little bit different, 2020 affecting everything, but the show should still be great, and there's going to be 12 to 15 new game announcements, so I'm really hyped for the Game Awards. It's something that I always watch every year, and I'm glad that we're finally doing some Game Awards coverage and getting into what I think about the Game Awards. Yes, Dason, exactly. Vote Miles Morales. I'm going to explain my reasoning too. Ghost of Tsushima, The Last of Us Part 2 are fantastic games. Ghost of Tsushima does something so good that makes me feel like this game is so original. And that's what I really loved about Ghost of Tsushima. It felt like there was a game not like it. The Last of Us Part 2 is just a technical masterpiece, performance-wise, and the facial capture is amazing, the audio is amazing, the way the game is built is amazing. Marvel Spider-Man, though, Miles Morales, we're talking about best action adventure game, and I think that that's what Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales is exactly to the T. It is the best action adventure game here. It is all action. It is an adventure that you go on becoming Miles Morales, the superhero. It's a game about relationships. It's a game about non-stop combos and gameplay that is just puts you on the edge of your seat, and you never really stop being at the edge. When you perform that 100 times combo, that 200 times combo, when you get that new suit in Spider-Man, when you're swinging around the city, it feels amazing. And I think that's why I'm voting Miles Morales, is because every second of that game, despite it being kind of short, is truly amazing, and I loved it. So we are going to be voting Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales. Best action game. So this gets a little tricky for me. Best action game. I honestly think Spider-Man should have been here, and then they should have put, I don't know, Neo 2 in action adventure. I would swap out Neo 2 and Spider-Man for these categories. But despite what it is, we have Doom Eternal, Hades, Half-Life Alyx, Neo 2, Streets of Rage 4. Best action game is kind of hard because for me, it's a mix between Doom Eternal and Hades. Now, I haven't played a lot of Hades, but I've seen so much Hades like everywhere. Like, I have watched so many streams on Hades. I've seen so many reviews on Hades. I have just jumped into people's Twitch channels to see what they're playing, and it's Hades. I've seen so many tweets about how good Hades is, and it's like, and even though I can't speak for it myself, I know how good that developer is. You know what I mean? And Streets of Rage, hands down, and I appreciate that too, and I really understand where the Streets of Rage 4 comes in. And if we're talking action, you know what I mean? Streets of Rage 4 is all action. It is the game that came back, and a lot of people were actually really happy with it. They were more happy with Streets of Rage 4 than people were happy with Battletoads. So I think tonight, this is a vote for me out of really what's been happening around me. I think I have enough say in this to still vote best action. The game that I played that would win is Doom Eternal. I think Doom Eternal is a non-stop thrill ride, from the music to the level design to finding out who the Doom Slayer really is kind of in this game, and finding out what hell really wanted, and you hunt down these priests, and I think Doom as a whole franchise expanded from this game more than any other game has expanded it. But Hades is probably going to win this. I'm not too sure if Hades is in another category. This is hard for me. If Hades is in Best Indie Game, I'm probably going to give Hades to Best Indie Game. But I love Doom Eternal. I talked myself into Doom Eternal. We're voting Doom Eternal. That's what's happening. We are voting Doom Eternal. I was going to go Hades. We got a badge. I graduated. I graduated for making that last minute decision. Okay. Innovation and accessibility. Now this is pretty cool. This is an award for games that do a new type of standard in accessibility, or provides a new feature that games haven't had before. We have Assassin's Creed Valhalla, we have Grounded, we have Hyperdot, we have The Last of Us Part 2, and we have Watch Dogs Legion. That is Hyperdot. I don't know what Hyperdot is. So I don't know what that is. I can't speak on that. I can speak on a lot of these other games, though. I can speak on Assassin's Creed Grounded and The Last of Us Part 2. The innovation to accessibility definitely goes to The Last of Us Part 2. It is crazy how many accessibility options The Last of Us Part 2 has. It is fantastic, and you could really go in there and customize that game to how even you want to play it, and it goes past accessibility. I think this is more of like a game that's really just delivering everything on all cylinders, and it's really giving people the chance to play the game how they want. And that's why The Last of Us Part 2 is going to win. And I think here on out, we're going to be seeing a lot of Last of Us Part 2 votes. Best VR AR game, we have Dreams, we have Half-Life Alyx, we have Marvel's Iron Man VR, we have Star Wars Squadrons, and The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. Now, I have not played any of these games in VR, but I have played two of these games. I have played Dreams, and I have played Star Wars Squadrons. I'm going to be voting for Star Wars Squadrons just because me playing the game with my controller, I can sense of how good a VR game will be. How good this would be with a 360 view, me being in the cockpit, me being able to look around at all the enemy ships and being in the dogfight. So that's why I'm going to be voting that way. What I think will win is Half-Life Alyx, because it's Half-Life, because it finally came back, because everybody was happy about it. Maybe people weren't happy about it being only VR, but everybody that played it on VR loved it. So we are going to be voting on the game that I played, but I really think that Half-Life Alyx wins. And that's that for best VR AR game. Best community support, Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout, Fortnite, No Man's Sky, and Valorant. Now, last year I believe Destiny 2 wins this. This year I believe Destiny 2 wins this. Mostly because the community support for that game is fucking out of this world. I know so many people that play Destiny. I know so many people that will not stop playing Destiny. And I know people that will keep playing Destiny no matter what content they drop, as long as it's new content. And that's because they love the world of Destiny. They love everything about it, from the gun grind to the lore to the new locations or characters. So we're going to be voting Destiny 2 here. I could talk about how I think Fall Guys is part of this. I could talk about how No Man's Sky is part of this. But if we're talking 2020, I think Destiny 2 is what takes it. Best mobile game, Among Us, Call of Duty Mobile, Genshin Impact, Legends of Runeterra, and Pokemon Cafe Mix. Pokemon Cafe Mix being in this is a joke. Should not be in here. I don't think anybody liked that game. I think they put it in here because it's a Pokemon game. The winner of this is going to definitely be Among Us. Now, I can see Call of Duty Mobile taking it. I think Call of Duty Mobile actually beat out Fortnite last year, which was pretty crazy. That may not be right, but I think Call of Duty Mobile did win best mobile game. But this year it's Among Us. This was a game that was $5 online, but it was free on your phone. This game blew up, and it got so many free downloads, it's crazy. Same thing with Genshin Impact. I could see Genshin Impact taking this if it doesn't take best multiplayer game. But Among Us, like I said, it was a cultural phenomenon. This game was breaking Twitch records. You saw every biggest streamer play it, so we're definitely voting Among Us. Best indie. Okay, so see, Hades is here. Now, it's funny, as I'm voting, I'm noticing how much I'm not voting for Fall Guys, despite how much I liked it, despite how much I'm a two-time Fall Guys champ on my Twitter handle. And here, it's weird. I want to vote for games that I could speak on. I want to vote for games that I've played, but when we're talking about that cultural phenomenon like we just did with Among Us, you have to call Hades. And if we're saying that Hades doesn't exist, I think I'm voting for Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout. I think 10 out of 10 times I'm voting for Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout. But since Hades is constantly consuming my feeds, everybody around me, everything, I'm going to give it to Hades. I'm going to give it to the benefit of the doubt, and I think it's going to win Best Indie, no matter what. I think this is a clean win for Hades, and we can move on, because that's done for already. Best ongoing game, Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Call of Duty Warzone, Fortnite, and No Man's Sky. For me, to be honest, I would say it's probably Destiny 2 again. But Fortnite and Call of Duty Warzone just did like a big Halloween event we just seen. They're doing new events now. Fortnite just fought Galactus, and now we have the Mandalorian and Kratos, and now I gotta vote Fortnite. I just said that we have the Mandalorian and Kratos in the same game, and I gotta vote Fortnite. I even came back into Fortnite for this newest season to get Mando, to get Kratos. And I think a lot of people are going to be looking at Fortnite this year and saying, hey, they did a lot of right moves. Maybe the Galactus event wasn't the best, But what came from the Galactus event, this new season, this 0 point, I think we have a winner with Fortnite. Best ongoing though, it could really go to anybody. I think in this category, my prediction is probably Destiny 2 again. I think the Destiny 2 stands are going to come out and they're going to really kill it. Games for Impact, I won't be voting on this category. I think Spiritfarer Tell Me Why wins though. I've seen a lot of Spiritfarer. It seems like a very sad game about, animals that die, and Tell Me Why is a very socially aware game. And for Games for Impact, maybe Tell Me Why wins just on that narrative, just on that very social awareness narrative that the game pulls. But I'm not going to vote for this one. Not going to vote. Best performance, we have Ashley Johnson as Ellie. We have Laura Bailey as Abby. We have Daisuke Tsuji as Jin Sakai. I'm so sorry if I butchered that name. We have Logan Cunningham as Hades. And we have Najee Jeter as Miles Morales. Now, one thing that I love about Last of Us 2 is the fucking facial capture and the performance. I don't think there's anything in a game like it other than Final Fantasy VII Remake to come out this year. I think the performance for Jin Sakai is it's really great. I think Jin is a great character, but as far as like me being so enamored with performances, it's probably has to I want to say Abby. My heart says Ellie, and my mind says Aerith from Final Fantasy VII Remake should be in this category, and it got fucking robbed. I think that's very true. I would never take that back. She kicked ass as Aerith. She was my favorite thing about Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's sad that she's not here. And out of that, I'm going to go with what I believe in, and I think that's Laura Bailey as Abby. She is a controversial character for a reason because her performance was so well done. She was someone that you didn't expect to play as the whole most of the game. She had a really crazy ending. She had a great performance. She was a character that you grew to love and to hate and to understand and to misunderstand, and to where Ellie does all of that too. I think Laura Bailey as Abby comes out, pushes Ellie out of the picture a little bit. This is more than Ellie's story. This is a story about The Last of Us rather than story about Ellie. And I think Laura Bailey wins this. And I think if I'm predicting this, I think Laura Bailey wins. Najee Jeter as Miles Morales is something that like tells me, oh, maybe you should have voted that way. But I would say that some of his counterparts in the game were a little bit better than him, to be honest. I think his friend Finn should be up here. If I were to pick anybody from Spider-Man, it would be Finn. And Finn is not in this category, so Laura Bailey it is. Best audio design, Doom Eternal, Half-Life Alyx, Ghost of Tsushima, Resident Evil 3, The Last of Us Part 2. Best audio design. Now, there was actually a lot of shit about Doom Eternal this year, about how, like, the EQ was hella flat and it didn't sound good, and a lot of people were really upset. I can't believe that this is in this category. The soundtrack was banger, and I loved it, and I think that it was just as good as Doom 2015, but when it comes to audio design, it's got to go Last of Us Part 2. The audio design for Last of Us Part 2 was out of this world. You heard people around corners. When you threw the extension cord over the fence at the beginning of the game, you hear the wind from the extension cord. You hear it leave your hand. You hear it go over the fence, and you hear it drop on the fence, and then you hear the plug hit the other side of the fence. That audio design in The Last of Us Part 2 is stellar, and it's going to get my vote. Best score and music, we have Doom Eternal, we have Final Fantasy VII Remake, we have Hades, Ori and the Will of the Wisp, and The Last of Us Part 2. Without a doubt, Stone Cold, let me look at you in the eye. The game that needs to win this category is Final Fantasy VII Remake. The music is so fucking good. It is out of this world. It's a mixture of what came before and what is new now. It perfectly complements this game. Well, I think I mean, I think if Final Fantasy VII Remake were to win any of these categories, I think score and music, it's gotta go to Final Fantasy VII Remake. And I think a lot of critics are hopefully gonna vote that way. But I could see it also being The Last of Us Part 2. You know, you have the Gestapo stuff in there, and you have like the amazing guitar, and you have all the music, and I could definitely see The Last of Us Part 2. You even play guitar in the fucking game. So I don't know. It's probably going to be The Last of Us Part 2, but I think it should be Final Fantasy VII Remake. I think it's fantastic. Next up, Best Art Direction. We have Final Fantasy VII Remake, we have Ghost of Tsushima, we have Hades, we have Ori and the Will of the Wisp, and we have The Last of Us Part 2. For me, this is a tie between The Last of Us Part 2 and Final Fantasy VII Remake, and right behind them, though, is Ghost of Tsushima and Ori and the Will of the Wisp. If we're talking art direction, if we're talking if Ori should win anything at the Game Awards, it's probably this. I really think a lot of people will vote Ori in because it is a game of art, and I think Hades is, for everything that Hades is, I just think that other games in this category do it better. What I want to vote is Final Fantasy VII Remake. I think the new art direction of this game is the strongest point of the game. I think Cloud looks amazing. I think Aerith looks amazing. Red 13 looks amazing. When Barrett takes off his glasses and says that meaningful monologue in the camera, you are just enamored by how good his model looks, what he is saying, the world around him, and I think Final Fantasy VII Remake definitely deserves best art direction, mostly because it comes from something that is so simple. We remember Final Fantasy VII Remake as this polygon-based PlayStation 1 game, and Final Fantasy VII Remake completely evolves that. I think God of War won a lot of game awards because of the evolution that God of War as a franchise took when that game came out, and I think a lot of people will look at Final Fantasy VII Remake and say the same thing. This game came out and it blew out the expectations. It was way better than what it needed to be, better than what we deserved, better than what we remember. A lot of people didn't like the narrative direction at the end, and that's understandable. I get the purist aspect of it. I loved it, but constantly through Final Fantasy VII Remake, I was floored with how good everybody looked. Same thing with Last of Us Part 2, however, though. As I said, facial capture in The Last of Us Part 2 and Final Fantasy VII Remake are just stellar. I mean, from the minor lip movements that everybody has, we see the gif of Cloud smirking, you know, when Jesse's talking to him, and, you know, we see all of The Last of Us Part 2 gifs with all the facial animations, and I think The Last of Us Part 2 will win, but I'm going to go Final Fantasy VII Remake because I think it deserves to win. I think what we got from the resource material is just fantastic. I understand The Last of Us Part 2 winning that, though. Best Narrative, 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim, whatever that is. I never played that game. Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, The Last of Us Part 2. The best narrative is tricky. I think a lot of people are not going to vote Last of Us Part 2 here. I think a lot of the people, if they have a problem with any of these games on here, it's the end of Final Fantasy VII Remake, it's the end of The Last of Us Part 2, and honestly the beginning of The Last of Us Part 2, to where I think the narrative of The Last of Us Part 2 is fantastic. I love the way the story went, and I love the way the Final Fantasy VII Remake story went. I gotta say, a lot of people were unhappy with the endings, and I think right here, best narrative goes to Ghost of Tsushima, because it is a movie you're playing. It is a story about a samurai that lost it all, that wants to reclaim his land from the Mongolians and take back what is his and his culture, and he goes through the memories of his life training as a samurai. And for me, if I'm going to vote Ghost of Tsushima anywhere, it is best narrative. And that's what we're voting. Best game direction, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Half-Life Alyx, The Last of Us Part 2. Game direction is, oh man, game direction's hard too. I want to say this is a three-way tie between Final Fantasy, Ghosts, and The Last of Us Part 2. I'm sure a lot of people would say all of these games deserve to win. It's because they do. Um, but here's my arguments for a couple of these games. The Last of Us Part 2 did exactly what it wanted to, despite what it knew fans wanted. That is a gutsy game direction. I think it paid off. Despite all the haters of The Last of Us 2, they decided to do something they knew would be controversial, and they did it anyway to make their product. Same goes for Final Fantasy VII Remake. Everybody was wondering why the title is the way it is. Through the narrative of Final Fantasy VII Remake, you start to learn why things are the way they are, and some people didn't like the way the narrative turned out, but within that narrative, they actually implement the fans. You know, I don't want to speak too much and spoil Final Fantasy VII Remake, but the truth is of that game is it was very aware of what it was doing, and it totally shoved in your face like, hey, look, this is you, the fans, trying to keep this the way it is, and we want to make Final Fantasy VII what we want it to be now in the modern age. And I think that is a very gutsy game direction call. Now with Ghost of Tsushima, it's like, hey, this is an American-made Japanese product. This is the Kurosawa effect, you know, and they had the filter on there to make it feel like a black and white grainy movie. And I think a lot of people really appreciated Ghost of Tsushima for that reason. And man, I gotta go with my heart on this. I'm voting it a lot, but I gotta do what's right. I think Final Fantasy VII Remake should win Best Game Direction, even though I think The Last of Us Part 2 is gonna win Best Game Direction. Fuck, no, I can't. Oh no. I'm gonna pick The Last of Us Part 2 because I believe what it did, knowing what the fans wanted, and how much of a curve that took, how much of it taking characters away from you that you didn't want to get taken away, as much as it makes you play as a whole nother main character. I'm going to go Last of Us Part 2 for Best Game Direction. Now here it is. Game of the Year. Doom Eternal, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Animal Crossing New Horizons, and The Last of Us Part 2. Now what I think will win is The Last of Us Part 2 or Animal Crossing's New Horizon. You may laugh and say, oh really, Animal Crossing? Well, Animal Crossing is the best-selling game here. So if we go by numbers alone, and if people turn out for who bought the game, then it's gonna definitely be Animal Crossing. That would be it just by numbers. But we have critics here, and my heart goes to Final Fantasy VII Remake. This is Game of the Year for me, and that's how I want to vote my Game of the Year vote. Some of these other votes, some of these other categories, I picked what I think should win, what I think will win, but here at Game of the Year, I'm going to vote for what I want to win. That's going to be Final Fantasy VII Remake. I don't think it has a chance to win Game of the Year. I'm going to tell you that right now. I think when it comes to all these games, I think Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Animal Crossing, and The Last of Us Part 2, all of the, I mean, not Doom Eternal. I'm not going to lie. I don't think Doom Eternal should be up here. I think it should be Half-Life Alyx. That's the honest truth. But, you gotta realize that the indie scene is blowing up because of Hades. The player's choice, Ghost of Tsushima won. The critics want The Last of Us Part 2, and the best-selling game is Animal Crossing. And then you have the best remake of the year, which is Final Fantasy VII Remake, that brought something old, made it new, and everybody thought it was amazing. All 5 of these games do something perfect. They all do something perfect. My Game of the Year vote will go to Final Fantasy VII Remake. I will think that Ghost of Tsushima, Animal Crossing, or The Last of Us Part 2 wins. And I think everybody expects The Last of Us Part 2 to win. I think the upset happens and it's Ghost of Tsushima or Animal Crossing. But we voted Final Fantasy VII Remake. I had a lot of fun doing this. This was cool. I'm glad that I got to tell you guys what I was thinking. I was able to finally explain some of my opinions on games, not just playing games, not just sitting here playing Rogue Company, things like that. I was actually able to play, so I really appreciate that. It seems like my stream is getting a little buggy, so I'm going to be logging off for now. I'll be posting my announcement predictions, though, tomorrow morning. I was going to do it during the stream, but we're already at 40 minutes, and we voted. It was a great time. I appreciate everybody coming by here. Ryuga, Kaleo, Dason, you guys are great. I hope you guys watch the Game Awards. Maybe we could set up something to where I stream me watching a little bit of it tomorrow. I definitely cannot stream and cover all 4 hours. That can't happen. But nevertheless, I appreciate you guys for coming out tonight. Geeks World out. Oh, and make sure y'all subscribe, okay? We need some real subs up in here. We need some real subs. We need some real likes. I appreciate you.